welcome all the participants to this session. This is the last session of this season. We are going to start the next season right from Monday, and we are going to release the schedule on Monday. Like how we had the chairman of AICTE starting the this season, and today we are ending with experts like Dr. Sandeep Senchetti. The next season is going to be inaugurated and started by the vice chairman of AICTE on Monday. So that the schedule will be out tomorrow. You can look at that. So with this, now let me first invite Dr. Sandeep Senchetti. I'm sure he's a very, very known person to this crowd. This audience knows the reputation of Dr. Sandeep Senchetti. He's currently the vice chancellor of the SRM University in South. And he was earlier with president of Manipal University Jaipur, and he was more known when he was a director of NIT Delhi, NIT Surathkal, NIT Trichy, and whatnot. He has held many positions, and he is a very, very senior, most well-respected educator or academic leader of India. So in fact, when we had discussions with the AICTE, often when we had a roundtable in Delhi, he his points were much valued by the entire policy makers of India, and that is the power what Dr. Sandeep has. So now I'll request Dr. Sandeep Senchetti to go and address this audience, and we are close to 3,000, and next 2 to 3 minutes we expect 4,000 to join. So let us not wait. Let us listen to you, sir. Dr. Sandeep Senchetti.
Very good morning to everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Dr. Rampuzarai, for introducing me very generously. Also, thanks to ICT Academy for this wonderful opportunity. I think I am overawed by the situation because it's probably very rare in my life when I got a chance to address around 3,000 or 3,000 plus faculty in a single shot. So it's a wonderful opportunity to talk something about our future. ICT Academy has started a very fantastic initiative of Sky Campus and few other series which they have completed and they want to continue. So my congratulations to them for doing this wonderful work during these testing times. We are able to use our time very effectively, and we are able to probably learn from each other. I think that's a wonderful opportunity because teachers otherwise are required to work long durations, long hours for undertaking their regular activities. This digital knowledge series supported by industry also, I'm seeing Mr. Ravi Arora and Mr. Vivek Mehra also supporting us, is a very good value addition because by ourselves we cannot sustain, by ourselves we cannot do everything which is required. Interestingly, the name given to this particular, you can say, series is Future is Here Now. I'm not a Jyotish, I'm not a fortune teller. I would not be able to know much about the future. However, I'll work today very hard. I'll do certain things which will decide my future. But to say whether it is here or not there is probably a challenge and would always remain a challenge. And in that respect, I'll be taking my shot on what I think of the topic, and particularly with a view of what we call the education. Higher education in particular, and therefore I'll be sharing a few slides with you, my dear friends. So please allow me to do that to you, and with that I'll make and take a time of something like 20 minutes of my presentation in terms of sharing things with you. Can I make a beginning now with the presentation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, are you able to see the slides?
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay, I'll make them full. So I'm talking about the higher education in respect of the future is here now. So friends, a small introduction to what I'm going to talk. We know that nothing in life is permanent, and therefore we know that everything which has come into existence has to cease to exist. And that is the reason why there is a thing called past, why there is a thing called present, and why there will be a thing called future, because change is the essential element of life, and therefore it will keep changing, and therefore there will be a past. When it changed, it becomes future where we are living, and then when it changes again, it's present, and when we are going in ahead, it will be a future for us. And therefore we know that the change will remain, and therefore we'll have to work for our future. We also know that education domain or related domains of education have changed a lot. There was a book by Mr. Buckminster Fuller who wrote a book long back and probably mentioned that the knowledge is changing very faster. And in 1945, it was changing or doubling every 25 years. 82, it became 12 to 13 months. And it was estimated that it is becoming 12 hours in 2020. There is no measure for that. I cannot quantify, justify whether it is true or not, but I would probably indicate that it is changing very fast. So when things are changing so fast, how can you say what can happen tomorrow? Can we ponder over something which will change in 20 to 12 hours or very soon? It's probably very, very difficult in my opinion. And therefore, keeping that in mind, we can say that we do not know what is the date of expiry of knowledge, what is the date of best before for knowledge, and therefore going into the future is bit difficult, but we'll still try it, because education is the one which can define it, one which can try to force it. So in the age of knowledge, with this tsunami of knowledge, I think certainty is not there, but attempt has to be there. And therefore, we can say that we have to work towards certain things which are achieved only when we know what we want to achieve, like we do in engineering education particularly. We see the target first, and then we keep moving according to target. And keeping that in mind, we are trying to envision the future, we are trying to dream for the future, and we are trying to work for the future. This is what we are trying. So in that context, is technology driving the future? I think the answer probably will be known to each one of you in your own opinion. I'm not going to be an authority on that once again, but my take is an extremely positive yes, and always, and would always remain. And there are prominent examples which we know, which are visible from past 200, maybe 400 years also, or maybe since the civilization is there. You can always relate starting with the wheel and all that, but I'm limiting it to last 200 years typically, or a little more. Steam engine made the change in the world, the motive power, the industrialization, the flying machines, aircrafts, and other things. The world wars happened primarily because of the technology which was available in there. The nuclear technology probably ended the world war and probably defined certain things in a different way. I belong to electronics, so I can say semiconductor is a very defining thing. In any case, it is listed in the top 5, you can say, inventions of the technological nature in the world. The computers then came later on. The internet came. Now we know that mobile came, and suddenly the communication has become free. World has become a global village. Similarly, we see that the energy, now the solar is becoming omnipresent, and therefore energy is more like going to be free. Please remember, when I say free, take it with a pinch of salt. That's the first time investment has to be there. A mobile can be 5,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees. For energy, you have to have the installation, which will be 10, 20, 50, whatever that require. But one-time installation, the running cost is very, very free. The same is going to be with the transportation, with the electrical transportation coming into a big way. And then we are seeing artificial intelligence changing everything which we want to do. What I'm trying to say is that technology has changed every aspect of our world. If you see the next line, it says it has changed the physical world, it has changed the social world, it has changed the political world, it has changed the financial world, it has changed the relational world, how I behave with you. Today, I'm taking a session with around 3,000 people in a different way, which was otherwise not possible. Functional map, everything has changed in the world. How we function, how we operate, how we deal with each other. I think the technology is one thing which has done. And therefore, can we say that education, though it may be a slow moving entity, but it cannot remain untouched by the technology? Whether it is by choice or by chance, I'm sure that technology is going to have its impact. It's already happening. COVID seems to have really spurred the activities as far as the education sector is concerned in these particular testing times. And therefore, technology is one which is going to drive whether we like it or not. Yes, you may have a slightly different view in certain ways, but the moment technology has started growing faster, we have seen the changes also becoming very, very faster. And therefore, we are seeing unprecedented changes like what you are doing right now. We have started taking classes and sessions which are pretty big and which are liked, and attendance is very good. Maybe the performance will also be very good. Just to tell you that how our SRM itself has changed in recent times because of the technology and the situation, I'm not going to define anything, but we've come out with many technologies related to ventilators and face shields, which many of you have done. I must congratulate that all of us have come together to do it. But we have developed something like 3 apps, one for the groceries and support systems, one for the testing of individuals by themselves, and one for the information, which was done by our students who are in UC Berkeley for semester abroad program, and so on and so forth. Now the real technological events are also taking place. The X-ray based diagnostics tools are being developed using image processing. And also we are trying to develop certain other things in terms of disinfecting the goods and various other things using UV based technologies and all that. So these are the opportunities. All these things were known to us, but we never used it. We never developed it. Coronas were there, the viruses were there, but we never developed such apps and tools for that. But I think technology and the situation has given us the opportunity. These are just the snapshots of those examples which I was trying to name. I'm sure you have done all that, and you might have done even better. So let's join hands. Let's share that information with each other and make sure that we are benefited. We also done in the education similar examples, though we were having these examples earlier also. eLab and eSkill and eCircuit were developed by us in-house. eLab obviously was for the programming based learning. eSkill was basically for the comprehension, examination, testing, and all that which was there. eCircuit was for something on the electronic side, and the virtual learning systems were there. Today, we have used certain commercial tools like Remotex and all that, and given 10,000 licenses to our students to refer to anything online which is available with us through our library. So that is the power of technology. Technology can scale up. Technology can do wonders. Technology can flatten the earth. We used to talk about earth is round or flat or whatever. I think a poor person or a rich person, I think a person in village or a person in New York will possibly have the same access to education and technology. And therefore, let's talk about the future of educational world. I would say that educational world, we are talking about good quality, affordable, easily accessible, and diverse knowledge. Diverse means what I want to learn and do and whatever. And the focus obviously is on the disseminate, assimilate, and generate kind of a features. We are currently very big in disseminate and maybe in assimilate, but we are not doing enough in generation as far as India is concerned. We need to focus more on research, and hopefully this new technologies and new times and new requirements will force us and will help us to or accelerate our generation part also. So we obviously follow the certain guidelines given by the various bodies. AICTE, the chairman had talked to you about some of these issues, I'm sure, in the inaugural one. We do courses on market demand, the choice-based credit system, and various other things. Fully choice-based credit system are there. We follow a scheme which is interdisciplinary, experiential, and active learning. And today, experiential and active learning has become very important. And so is the case with the interdisciplinarity. And therefore, we follow the principle of ideal. There are many dimensions to it. Can't explain everything to you right now. So in future, the classrooms will be flipped classrooms and mixed mode of teaching. I think COVID has already made it possible. You're sharing your notes in advance. You're telling them what you're going to teach. You are allowing them to learn from books, learn from friends, learn from blogging, learn from a webinar, and all those things you're trying to do it. Like that, you are doing the various things in terms of laboratories, group activities, acts, films, write-ups, self-learning, and all that. So basically, you will have to now give the flexibility to go to help them study at their own rate, go beyond the syllabus, move fast and slow, use internet, animation, web-based, direct-to-home, television, or whatever. Ultimately, it will be a blended learning or teaching learning. And within that, teaching will be less and learning will be more. Please remember that, my dear friends. Don't try to push everything through their throat or in their tummy. Just leave them enough with the anxiety and interest and excitation so that they learn rather than we continue to teach only. And make sure that while you are teaching them, you also learn. So you have to do the blending of teaching and learning, blending of modes, blending of everything. In future, obviously, we'll make our own degrees, we'll make tailorable degrees. I'm not going to explain the feature, but it's going to be very big in times to come. All these dual degree, major, minor, specialization, integrated programs, all these things will happen, and higher interdisciplinary domains will also work for us. So if I need to define the set of teaching learning in a view graph, I will probably say the top two are happening, laboratories and classes are happening, but classes will have to be flipped classrooms and various things, and labs will have to be virtual labs. And we'll be talking about these virtual labs very soon, once again through a webinar like this, and those who are interested can possibly join. The another focus will be the classes are fine, but the self-study, self-class will be more important for teachers as well as the students both. And MOOCs and webinars and online resources will be very helpful. Similarly, laboratories will not be confined to the four walls within the institution. Hackathons will be the real laboratories, and therefore there will be technology applications, they'll be highly multidisciplinary, they'll be society centric, and they'll be driven by a cause or a problem which are there. Industries are doing it in a big way. India is doing it in a big way. I'm sure AICT told you about hackathons, that India is consulting and helping even advanced countries hackathons. So these are the new avenues. The industrial visits and internships are happening, but the quality and the quantity both are not up to the mark. And therefore, we need to do something and make sure that we take practical projects and be better ready in terms of using these resources very nicely. And similarly, project-based learning, etc., also will have to be developed. So you know most of these parameters. I need not explain these to you. So what will be the good practices? Partly I have covered these practices, but partly I'm going to cover now. So flipped classroom will be a good practice. So teachers are ready, students are ready, in my opinion. Blended teaching learning, I already said, is required. Practice-based courses, more design orientation is what we require. That's what industry is crying about. More research orientation is for the generation of the new knowledge. Student centricity, I already said, is required because they want varied pace of learning. More and active feedback is required, what they have done right, wrong. Better evaluation strategies are required. Continuous evaluations are required. Outcome orientation and measurements are required. We are all doing it because of NAAC and NBA, but I think we need to do it much more deeply. Assurance of certain minimum benchmarks is what we need to do. Right now, we are unable to assure that. Yes, pass and fail is some benchmark, but it's not an adequate benchmark, my dear friends. And therefore, we have to use the new technology to make the teaching learning more good, or not good, better, or possibly the best, if I can say so. And therefore, teaching learning also goes hand in hand with the examinations. Without evaluations, our cycle is not complete. And today we are struggling with the cycle of examinations. As you know, most of the examinations, whether it's entrance or whatever, everything is getting delayed. So I'm just putting a slide on the examinations. Some ideas. You probably know that continuous internal examinations are happening. These gives you better opportunities and better results. Online obviously allows you anytime, anywhere, and makes the student comfortable. And we are making use of these things very nicely in recent times. The top horizontal bar, 2 of them, you can see that. The group evaluations, which is going to be a very good thing in sense of team working, because in most cases, it's going to be a teamwork in future for doing good things. And therefore, group evaluations is what we should attempt even for theory examinations, I'm saying. And it will raise the bar of average performance in general. I can talk more about it later if there are questions, or I can answer it separately. Open book is something which is a real life situation. All the cases you'll probably find from the other experts who are from industry that their problems are solved not necessarily by looking in their own memory. They can refer any reference and then give the best answer. So we need to prepare as students for that. And the last 2 are slightly advanced, I would say, on demand examination. So when students are ready, you should offer them the examination. Something like, when I am ready, I eat my food. When I'm ready, when I travel, and so on and so forth. I think the same concept should be extended to the examinations and studies also. And in the current situation, we are facing challenges that we are unable to conduct examination because the students are not with us, or their systems are not sanitized, or bandwidth is not available, access is not available. I think concept of examination cafes will be something wonderful to help them. So with that, I'm coming to the last 2 slides, and those are more of futuristic slides. What is, I would say, futuristic slide, and which will bring the future to now, are the 2 slides which I'm going to discuss. Like we know, dirty dozens, unfortunately, it's a wrong maybe example. I have chosen the name to be driving dozens, or maybe I can call it as desirable dozens. And I'm sharing them in 2 slides once again. The first slide of driving dozens, which are all for educational setups, is number 1, 3D printing, which can give you modeling and visualization and create and recreate. So have a feel of what you are doing. And today 3D is anyway very big. Another one in the horizontal top line is the smart classroom. Once again, smart classrooms are happening. We are mixing the modes and all that. So these are fine. So these 6 driving dozens which I'm giving you right now are ones which are happening in a certain way. And the next 6 which I'm going to give you in the next slide are possibly going to happen in future in a big way. So the first 2 I have explained to you. The next 2, text to speech and vice versa, is again a very, very good example. Both are happening in a certain way. But imagine, I don't have to write my examination. I'll have to speak my examination or speaking examination. I think it'll be wonderful. Examination times can go down and maybe the efficiency can be very nice. The feel factor can also be very nice. I do not know what will happen to the diagrams and all that, but I can still do many examinations by speaking and don't necessarily have to write. It will make the life easy for the examiner also, because he or she will not have to worry about the handwriting, which sometimes is a curse for us in terms of reading it effectively. 5G and cloud technologies, I think everything will be accessible at a touch of button at any point of time, and you can mix and match and everything what you want to do. Biometric eye tracking is something going to be very, very important in future to come to understand how your students are reacting. It will be very helpful for examination. People are doing proctored examination using biometric eye tracking. But in future, even heart rate or your sweat or maybe many other physical parameters, body language, mood gauging, everything can be done. And from that, you will know what the student is learning or not learning, how good or bad the student is, and so on and so forth. And obviously, it's going to be a time of social networking in terms of collective learning, situational learning, various other things, various other features will come into the framework when it comes to this. So I believe that these 6 are happening right now, and you are taking advantage of that. And therefore, we are happy that technology has started playing role. Please remember that 3D and all that has become very, very essential. I will hardly find any institution which will not have smart classrooms today, which are not using some biometric facilities, even if it is only for pure attendance, etc., or hostel attendance, etc., but they are using for faculty and staff also. So my last slide, my dear friends, is the later half of the dirty dozens. The first 6 were given to you earlier. Next 6 are here now. Number 1 is holographic presence, minimize physical presence, travel, etc. With that, I can transport myself and I can create a situation where in your room itself or your classroom or your office, your meeting room, I can be projected through a holographic image, and Sandeep Sancheti can be sitting with you while I'll be remotely there. I'll be talking, but I'll still be seen to be there with you, and therefore the feel factor will be very different. You can still feel the class as a class or something as something, meeting as meeting, and therefore it will cut down on unnecessarily travel or the hazards related with travel or depletion of natural resources like petroleum and all that, because the travel will be minimized. So some solution from technology for some common problems are we can foresee, and therefore the future will change. Artificial intelligence, I need not say much to you. It always gives you adaptive learning, various other features of seamless learning, image recognition. I was overawed by a person from Australia, from New South Wales University, who was taking a class of 500 students, and who in a Microsoft session explained to us that how he is able to handle all 500 of them individually. He is able to give personal attention to them, and the tool behind the scene was artificial intelligence, which will tell him what am I doing, how am I doing, whether I'm good, bad, and all that. And therefore, he was able to attend all the students very nicely. We have never liked games to be associated with teaching. I think that fundamental has to change. 180-degree phase shift is coming in many, many concepts. Gaming is one thing which has to creep in into teaching learning, because that's the best way to engage the students. And therefore, there are many, many tools which are there, Xboxes, PlayStations, mobile gaming apps, captive learning can happen. And I've seen people as young as 5 years, 7 years old are able to learn business models, create museums, parks, and see the business and place things and various things. And therefore, a great deal of interactive learning which happens. Imagine wearable devices. We have to keep a lot of things in our mind when we speak to you, to share all that we want to do, and we keep recalling, hey, I remember all that. I think with wearable devices, everything will be available to us at the click of the button, storage and this and that. And therefore, there will be less clutter in mind. I will probably presume wearable devices, once they happen effectively, will be a boon to us and will make our life more comfortable. I come to the last 2, which are not at all so much happening in the sense that augmented reality, virtual reality, or in any form, whatever you can say, it makes 3D modeling very easy. It makes immersive learning very easy. For example, a subject which is sometimes called as a little boring, historical or history, because not necessarily boring, but it's not very interactive kind of a thing. In that sense, if I say that I'm talking about Krishnadev Rai's Darbar and about his let's say history, I can basically, using virtual reality or augmented reality, create situations and where the Darbar can be summoned, where the king can be sitting and we as an audience can be sitting, and we can have the interaction with the Darbar or with the king also. That is the power of the virtual or augmented reality, even for a subject like history. And such a talk is available on the TEDx talk. If you'd like to see, if you search, you'll probably find. So that is the power of the augmented virtual reality. The engagement can be very immersive, very high, and very nice. And the last thing, obviously, is the flexible displays, LCD desk. Probably these are something new to me also. But imagine you don't have to carry pen and paper. Imagine that you don't have to carry look at the blackboards. You don't have to look at the distance. Your desk itself is a blackboard, or desk itself is a display where everything is there. You can speak and it will show you. You'll speak and it will record it to you. So no pen, paper, nothing, no big bags, nothing. All these things probably, my dear friends, tells me that technology is going to make a huge change in everything which we'll do in the education. And my take on this is last slide here, that are we future ready? Is the future already on and available to us? My answer is firmly not yet, because we have not adopted all that dirty, or rather I'll say desirable dozens, which I was trying to name to you. And therefore, once we do it, probably we'll say, yes, we are very future ready. Are we evolving? Yes, very much faster in COVID times, and therefore change is happening. What is the obstacle? Our own inertia to change, and the cost limits it. Cost is a bigger limit right now, and our own inertia is also there. As a teacher, we need to be very agile. Since I'm addressing all teachers, I'm happy to say that we should be much more open to changes. Even if we do not have the answer, we should gracefully accept it and say, you'll try to bring the answer next time in the class. I think that should be the openness teachers should have. We need to define all these things with needs and applications in the future and for the future courses. And ultimately, would we ever reach the end goals? I would doubt, because of technology will keep evolving. Future will keep seeing something different. And in this sense, I will say the goal will not be scored fully because or to the required extent, because the goalpost will always keep shifting. It is with this point I would like to end my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention. I will be very happy to answer many questions, and also while doing so, I'll be very happy to learn those with you also. So with this, my dear friends, I will go back to my slide, and I'd like to thank ICT Academy for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Really, it's a excellent presentation. I think no more than the questions. Everybody are everybody have dived into your presentation. That too, when you spoke about your the future that you're looking at, and that last two slides, the dozen points that you've mentioned. I think that's the key. In fact, there are plenty of messages saying we need this PPT to take into our college, and implement things. So thank you very much, sir. It's an excellent presentation. Definitely, there no questions can be asked. You have made it so very easy for everybody to understand. And you can also just have a watch in the chat window. You will get to know, and it is really an excellent insight, sir. While policymakers have spoke on different perspectives, and you have given really on the field what has to be implemented at the college level, what is the future going to look like, and you have also clearly mentioned what is already existing, what will be the future. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much for the talk.
Please do share it with them. Do share it with them.
Sure, sir. In case any questions, I will come back to you again, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.